Michael Saylor actually says in a new interview that he will destroy all his Bitcoin. That's absolutely wild, and we need to take a look at it. However, it's not negative news, but rather very, very good news for the Bitcoin network. But we'll look at it in detail. Additionally, we have new insider leaks that clearly confirm that the USA is not bluffing and will buy Bitcoin. Many assume that currently the USA is making a big bluff, that nothing significant will happen. No, we now have confirmation that massive things are being moved in the background, which we will now look at. One of the largest price discrepancies ever is currently occurring. We have never had such a large price asymmetry. This means the Bitcoin price is potentially more undervalued than ever before. And in this video, we will take a close look at why. I mean, just consider this. Michael Saylor is actually starting a poll on how much Bitcoin GameStop should buy. I've already said that GameStop will almost certainly buy Bitcoin. And Michael Saylor is basically confirming that here again. He says here, hey, 50 million, 250 million, 1 billion, 3 billion, child's play. That would be here. And most people are saying at least 3 billion. So that GameStop is respected by Bitcoin here. So that's incredibly intense. Crazy story. What's happening here that he posts something like this so publicly? Before we get to Michael Saylor and the massive leak about Bitcoin purchases in the US, in the SEC, the regulatory authority here in the US. And indeed, there is now a new report. And it actually comes out now that the SEC chief, Paul Atkinson, the new SEC chief, here, owns $6 million in cryptocurrencies. I mean, just think about it. This is the next sign that we have a regulatory authority here that wants to pump the Bitcoin price up. We have a president who wants to pump the Bitcoin price up. We have a trade minister who wants to pump the Bitcoin price up. That means all signs are pointing to take off. The crypto task force in the USA has now even released new roundtables. There are 4 new roundtables here, up until the 6th June, so almost every month. In April, even 2 roundtables. And here it's about things like, for example, here, key consideration for crypto custody, like where the keys are stored when you buy Bitcoin, for example. Or it's about how you can trade everything here. Probably about how you can buy it here. It also involves other things, like tokenization or DeFi, or other strange stories happening here. But in any case, they are dealing with it. And this is also confirmed by the leak that we are about to look at. We also have a newly released report from Bitwise here. Here, the Bitwise CEO actually writes, they also launched a Bitcoin ETF here. According to Bitwise CEO Matt Huggan, Trump's Bitcoin reserve order eliminates the last existential threat to Bitcoin. And now comes the big surprise. He says here, you can see it very clearly. Now is the best time in history to purchase Bitcoin on a risk-adjusted basis. And then he explains in the entire report why there has never been such an incredible opportunity to buy Bitcoin as there is now. Sure, we might have had lower prices before, but on a risk-adjusted basis, there has never been a better time to get in because the potential return is incredible. While on the other hand, the risk is almost eliminated, since Bitcoin can no longer be banned or attacked. The hash rate is large enough, among other things. And the Bitwise CEO writes about this in an entire report. But now we have an insider leak here from Steve Labaka of Swan, a major Bitcoin exchange in the USA that operates Bitcoin only. And he makes it very clear here, hey folks, the Trump administration is not bluffing. They are really going through with it. It's now just about ironing out the details. And what he brings to the table here is truly astonishing. And later, we'll also delve into the massive statement from Michael Saylor, who actually wants to destroy all his Bitcoin. This is really no joke. It's already mentioned in the headline here from Swan, Bitcoin channel, why the next Bitcoin boom might surprise you here. And most people are overlooking this and are simply asleep at the moment. Most people are in a state of paralysis. They don't get what's currently happening.
This is such a wild moment. I will tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, no one believes them. At all. They do not believe them. They've come out and they've said it a million times. They don't believe them. Now, I think they're wrong to.
So here he is talking about the Trump administration, that most people think it's a big bluff. And that's why the Bitcoin price isn't going up yet, because they simply don't believe that the Bitcoin price will explode and that they are pursuing a massive Bitcoin strategy. But now he explains why he is so sure about it.
Don't believe them. Now, I think they're wrong to not believe them. I think they're absolutely going to do it. And I've had the pleasure to talk with people very close to this issue, and I can confirm that these proposals are real. They're being circulated. They're being discussed. Exactly what Bo Hines said. There are numerous proposals being talked about from the Treasury, from the Commerce. The executive order said, you shall do this. Lo and behold, they're not defying the executive order. They're doing it. This will happen. But it is staggering how no one believes it. The traditional markets don't believe it. It's too outside the Overton window for them. They just probably look at it and see a crazy Trump thing.
The traditional markets don't believe it. It's too outside the Overton window for them. They just look at it and see a crazy Trump thing. Access has to people who are very, very close to the Trump administration here. and I can't personally confirm that for myself right now. I don't have access there, but he apparently has the access here. That is very, very interesting. But what's even more interesting is that he's talking about the Overton window here. So the Overton window means that it's simply not the default right now to go into Bitcoin here. And that's where I've already explained to you that the Overton window will probably shift towards Bitcoin in this bull run. That maybe by the end of the bull run, it will be such that you won't have to explain yourself anymore when you invest in Bitcoin. At the moment, it's still the case that you have to explain yourself when you invest in Bitcoin. Then your grandma asked you, what kind of weird internet money have you bought? What is that? And so on. If you put it in a savings account, then your grandma says nothing. She just says, yeah, whatever, yay, savings account. But if you go into Bitcoin, then your grandma might freak out and says, hey, yeah, what's with the Bitcoin? It's only for criminals. Nothing against grandmas or anything. So, a big like to all the grandmas. Hit the like button for all the grandmas. Let's go, grandmas to the moon. But that's what he's talking about here.
They're blindsided. They think it's nothing. But what's really incredible is most of the crypto traders don't believe it, and half the Bitcoiners don't believe it. Like, very few people believe that this is going to happen. It's one of the biggest disconnects I've ever seen when they're coming out and telling you exactly what they're going to do. Trump saying it, written into the executive order, every official in the administration close to this saying it, Lutnick affirming it, Treasury and Commerce discussing it. You think that somehow they actually have no intention to do this. They do. They're out there. They're talking about it. They're doing it. And once it happens, you will see the market reverse in a hurry because this is not priced in. The SBR, where they didn't sell the coins, was priced in. The market expected it to happen. This is not.
So he clearly says that this will cause one of the most drastic reversals because it is not currently priced in. What's happening here? He provides the reasons why this will happen. There is the executive order here. The Secretary of Commerce, Donald Trump's White House, Bodine, and so on. You can go through the whole list now. You certainly can. Find 20, 30 points where it's officially said to people's faces, hey, we're buying Bitcoin. But he says people still don't get it. People are also blind to it. They're blind. They're in hibernation, in deep sleep. They're in standby mode, but they don't realize what's currently happening. I mean, I kind of understand it too. Yes, I mean, Bitcoin might not really be a topic for most people yet, and they're just doing other things, just chilling and whatever, but it's all the more important to stay involved now. Even many people who are letting themselves be shaken off by this sideways phase. I mean, when you have such massive potential here, I mean, it's incredible. There was even later in the clip here from CEO of Sworn, who also said something very, very interesting. He said that there are currently conflict hotspots everywhere, and at the moment, we have a trust problem. Internationally. That means, for example, Europe doesn't trust the USA. The USA doesn't trust Europe. The BRICS nations, they don't trust each other either. Max Kaiser assumes that we will see a gold-backed BRICS stablecoin or something like that, but they all don't trust each other either. And the problem is, if we all don't trust each other, then we need something we can agree on. And that's why the big thesis from Swan was here. I'm not going to play it again because otherwise the video will be too long. But his big thesis was that the USA, Europe, the BRICS nations, all of them, sooner or later, have to agree on Bitcoin. Because this is the only thing they can agree on. Everything else is uncertain. That means China, Russia, the USA, and so on. They all don't trust each other. But with Bitcoin, they have a common denominator. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be that they bet on Bitcoin or something like that. But if everyone is moving away from the USA, if everyone wants to be more self-sovereign and so on. But on the other hand, the nations don't trust each other in the past. Everyone somehow trusted the USA. Everything went through the US dollar. But if people don't trust each other here, then you need something decentralized, independent, that you can rely on. And if you want to continue trading internationally, then there's really no other option but to rely on Bitcoin. And it would be the ultimate catalyst. This won't happen in the next 2 or 3 years, but maybe over a 10 to 20-year horizon, it's quite possible. And now we have the massive statement from Michael Saylor about why he will destroy his Bitcoin.
You'll just leave your money to the human race, and everybody that believes what I believe, right? I believe in Satoshi and his vision, sovereignty, property rights, freedom, economic empowerment, economic immortality. I believe nobody should be able to steal your money. I believe you should get to keep it. And so if I believe that and I burn those keys, then I have made everybody in the network that much richer and more powerful forever. And they have the option to do the same, or maybe they'll use that power for good in a way that they deem to be appropriate. And you're like, well, who'd you give the most power to? I gave the most power to the person that believed the most what I believe, right? I mean, everybody has the choice to join the network with $1, $100, $1 million, $1 billion, or $1 trillion, right? So everybody gets to join, and we're all in it together from now to eternity. So yeah, that's my legacy.
I guess that begs the question, would you ever burn all your Bitcoin?
I think that I've just answered the question in the most responsible way that anybody would ever answer the question.
Crazy what he's saying here. He's saying here that he wants to burn all his coins. By burning, he simply means that the coins are destroyed, whether they are burned afterward or just thrown away. About him having 12 or 24 recovery words for his Bitcoin. And if he simply doesn't tell anyone, his children, or he doesn't have children, but his relatives, where the Bitcoin is located, or if he just burns the passwords, for example, or something like that, then the Bitcoin is destroyed. Not really destroyed, because they are still on the blockchain, but no one has access to them anymore. In that sense, you can indeed talk about destruction. And he also explains exactly why this is good for the Bitcoin network, and why everyone benefits from it. He first says that he believes in money that brings freedom, that cannot be censored, that cannot be inflated, and so on. If he leaves this world, if he eventually dies or something, he wants the best for all the people who believe the same as he does. That is, that Bitcoin makes the world a better place. That Bitcoin empowers people. And if he burns the coins here, it means at the same time that all other coins, for example, you have Bitcoin, and Michael Saylor now burns his coins or throws them away, loses them in a boating accident, then it means that your Bitcoin automatically becomes more valuable because there are fewer available coins in circulation. That's like Satoshi Nakamoto, who also has 1 million coins, which are essentially burned because he probably won't use the coins anymore. That means if Satoshi Nakamoto suddenly started using his coins again, maybe selling them, or something like that, then your Bitcoin would automatically become less valuable because suddenly these coins are back in active circulation. And that's why it's ultra bullish. We now need to distinguish between MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor. I believe Michael Saylor himself has, I don't know, is it 50,000 Bitcoin or so? The MicroStrategy coins, he probably won't be able to just earn them. So it's not like 500,000. Bitcoin will just disappear from the supply. It's probably more like 50,000 Bitcoin or something like that. And I don't know exactly how much he has. Max Kaiser also tweeted something interesting about it. He also said, hey, I'm probably doing exactly the same thing. And Max Kaiser, you have to consider, Max Kaiser, he bought Bitcoin when it was at $1 or even below $1. He is definitely a billionaire. There are also various speculations. He has between 200,000 and 300,000. Some say even more Bitcoin. So definitely a 7 or 8-figure amount of Bitcoin. You have to consider that. He has more Bitcoin than many people have dollars in their bank accounts. And Max Kaiser says he will probably do exactly the same thing. And that this is bullish for Bitcoin. I probably don't need to explain to you. So it's incredibly intense. And now I actually have a recommendation for you. Check out coin tracking here. You can see it displayed here. It's really the best tax tool available here for Bitcoin, for crypto. In general, if you want to track your taxes, your transactions, and so on, because doing taxes is actually important here. You shouldn't let this slide. This can actually put you in a tough spot if you don't do your taxes correctly here. There is a very simple way to check and track your portfolio, and later generate tax reports. It's also free to start with. However, if you sign up for a pro account, you can use the code COTEL to save on fees when signing up for such a pro account. This is a big recommendation from me. Check out coin tracking, the best tax tool. Definitely worth a look. And if you still want to buy Bitcoin, I'll put a link below for you. 21 Bitcoin, how you can buy Bitcoin easily, safely, and simply with the code. And there's up to 20% off on the gain when selling Bitcoin. See you then. Peace out.